today 12:17.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I gotta get those clips on YouTube.
The ones I recorded yesterday? Yep. Okay. I wonder if the dude from last week gonna come back.
Right, because he was raw.
Right.
We need them clips too. That
At the end of that? Yep. I kept thinking that to go live and then screen record the different clips, because that's what Focus was doing. Like when we would talk and the video would be live, he would go on there and all of the stuff that stood out to him, he would screen record those sections. I just never really go back and look at the stuff.
I don't either.
Right, so that's why I keep trying to get the clips. So that's just something we're gonna have to.
We may have to get Rico to do that.
We gotta get somebody. We gotta get somebody to do that.
Erica, somebody. We need some help.
Before y'all get started, could you kind of give me some feeling?
Oh yeah, that's what we want to do. No, that's what this. Yep, that's what we want to do.
Technology and stuff. I'm like, ooh, can I?
Yep, no, that's what we about to do.
And that's crazy because we all.
We about to give you our backstory. Oh, he getting that book. Okay, people sending messages. Okay, so a little bit of backstory. Susie tripping.
Yes.
I said.
As soon as you walked out of there, he said, "Susie tripping."
And you was like, "Or am I tripping?"
Oh, it's that instance. Okay, sorry.
Okay. So this is cool right here. I guess. So quick backstory. So we started out having conversations on Mondays, and the conversation started out in the direction of going towards self-actualization, right? Like I was trying to figure out what people be wanting from me when they be talking to me and asking my thoughts and my advice, but I didn't know how to really tap into what I was saying to them other than being able to wait for them to ask and then I could respond to it. But I wanted to try to be more helpful by trying to get some understanding on my own to be able to facilitate conversations. And that's kind of that's how we got here on Tuesdays. So Monday started out, and this was about last January, where Allie and I went to a conference from a speaker that I really like listening to. And he was having a conference, and then when you buy a ticket, your spouse gets to come. So I'm like, oh, that's perfect, you know, because I bought the ticket, then she get a free ticket. But I've been trying to explain to her what I'm learning from this guy and studying like what I'm understanding as digital economics, right? So the world of economics that is really what's the ecosystem behind social media. Like, so for the people who are on social media who aren't following their friends and posting their food and using it as a tool to socialize, I wanted to know what the business folks in the business world was really connected to it. So going to this conference, out of all of the stuff we learned, what I realized is that it was actually all guys, might have been a couple females. They really were a network. And one person, depending on whatever their specialty was, they were the one facilitating the information that they have. But they were kind of like a group. And then I started thinking like, okay, well, when I go home, I think I know what to do. Like all these 10 conversations that I'm in, and some people being ready, some people being serious, some people not being so serious, I can have one conversation, and whoever is for real will show up. And then that'll get me out of all 10 of these conversations. So last January, that's what we started doing. We started meeting on Mondays. And technically, I started like vetting a group of guys before I wasted Allie and Atay's time. That's technically what happened. Because I'm meeting with these guys to see if they ready and if they for real. I already know that they for real about what we all been doing this whole time. You know, as artists, as educators, as students, or whatever it is we learning. And I'm meeting with these 3 guys every Monday to try to see like, oh, is they serious? Oh, they gonna come back. And then eventually I'm like, hey, y'all, you know, I think, you know, we all need to be in this conversation. I think I need y'all help because this can't be no all guy thing because this is what's wrong with men. right? So we all start meeting every Monday. But the meeting on Monday about self-actualization, growth, figuring out who you are, how to tap into your full potential, those conversations weren't really enough because I had, for the last year and a half, been really studying digital economics, creator economy, one person business, and learning how to really monetize being on social media. And then the Tay was like, hey, can we start meeting on Tuesdays where you can kind of start talking to me about some of the stuff that you learning or some of the stuff that you sending to me. So I'm like, initially I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this on a different day. Why we just can't do this on the same day? But I just went with it. So Natea and I started meeting on Tuesdays, and then that turned into, Allie, you really need to be meeting with us on Tuesdays because we got knowledge that we don't necessarily see the value of. So
So you meet with the guys on Monday or
that's co. Mondays is co-ed, and Mondays is co-ed, and it's like we all need to grow up. So this is the Mondays is the grow up conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you lying to yourself about? You know, what's the mindset? What's how you tap into your emotions? Do you understand patriarchy? You know, these is the conversations. How is what we having conversations we having? How is this affecting you in your day-to-day life? What you're dealing with, what you're going through, what you're working on, what you're doing good with, what you're doing bad with, and how do you tap into yourself? And how are you getting in the way of tapping into yourself? That's very much our Monday conversation. Everybody in the group is identifying as a creative person, some way, shape, or form, which means after taking themselves serious to whatever extent, the conversation about how to see your value in a way that you can monetize it turns into the Tuesday conversation. So that's why our group is kind of smaller, because some of these folks are just at awareness. And then some people celebrating, oh, I've never seen it like this before, you know? And it's like, right. But that's not accountability. So you got to go into the accountability phase, which is your behavior shift. And then once your behavior change, you're gonna have to accept the consequences that come with starting to be yourself. Like, so that's Monday. Tuesday is very much you have value. You have value and you don't know that you have value. You don't see that you have value because for most of us, especially artists, Black artists, we've been conditioned to believe that our skills is the most valuable thing that we have. So we go seek more knowledge to improve our skills, to be able to charge more money, still to provide a service. But when I'm really studying digital economics and productizing knowledge, it's the knowledge that you're accumulating actually supersedes the skill that you've developed, because that brings you into being able to monetize information and knowledge and not have to exchange a service for money. So in me trying to learn it and trying to understand it, I started seeing the knowledge that was around me. And I'm like, oh yeah, man, you got so much knowledge, and you got so much knowledge, and it's all this stuff that you learned, and we all trying to figure out how to like live off of or survive off of what we doing. So I just keep learning it, and then I'm like, man, so if I didn't see the knowledge as the more valuable thing. I thought I was supposed to continue to improve my skill and get better and better and better and be better than somebody else, and that would turn into more money. But from my experience, what's happened is me trying to improve and improve and improve has still kind of kept me chasing improving, which has only allowed me to maybe make more money off of my services. But I was still only making money off of my services, knowing that as a 9-year-old working for my mom, I'm telling my mother, I want to figure out how to make money off of my mind. This is what I was saying to her as a 4th grader.
You literally saying that?
That's what I said to her. I said, I really want to learn how to make my mind make money, because I'm doing construction and carpentry as a 9-year-old as my summer job, my weekend job. And I'm just noticing that it's a lot of other stuff going on in my head. I wish I knew how to make money off of that. This is what I said to her. So come full circle, like I'm learning, like, oh, this is how people throughout the history of time have made money off of their knowledge. And historically, it's been the book, right? or you exchange a service and you teach to some extent. But the book is the knowledge-based product that has been around for however many years prior to digital economics, like prior to the internet, prior to social media. So social media comes, and then these people who have knowledge by way of a book started taking that knowledge and information, and even if they're teaching it, they teach it, but they put it in the form of a product, something that you could download, you know, kind of like the how-to VHS tapes when you go to Michael's. You know screen printing, you can teach screen printing, you can go teach in front of a class and be paid for the service, or you could videotape yourself going through the process of screen printing and you could sell the VHS tape. So now you've taken your knowledge that you have and turned it into a product that when you sell it, you can continue to sell it, which means you don't have to be in front of 1,000 classes for 30 years. You can go through the process one time and sell 1,000 videos by partnering with Michael's. So for me having that experience that's how I learned how to screen print. I went and bought that VHS tape from Michael's. So when I'm studying digital economics and education by way of digital products, that was the connection that I made. I'm like, oh, this is just like the Michael's video that I bought. Because if I was trying to figure out how to screen print now, I wouldn't go to Michael's to buy the video. And if I did, I probably would get a QR code to be able to download the video. It wouldn't be an actual VHS tape. It's in the form of a digital product. So then I just started trying to figure out how to perceive myself, my skills, my knowledge as valuable in terms of products. So I started going through developing these steps for myself. And then the steps I started showing Tay the steps. I started showing Allie like the initial steps. I know I didn't see the knowledge and skills that I had in the form of a product. And I don't know, do you feel like you did?
In the beginning?
Yeah. What about you, Allie?
What's that?
Did you see your skills and your knowledge as valuable, like it could turn into a product?
Not in the beginning, no, not at all. Remember I was asking you, what I got?
Well, I know how to do, right?
Not even thinking about it.
So it seemed like to me, at least for the artists we're around, even the educators that we're around, we see our service as the thing that brings us money. We don't really see the knowledge itself as really being the thing of value. Like, because I'm going and I'm teaching this. I'm teaching this to class, I'm teaching this to kid, I'm teaching it private. But I'm not even seeing that it's the knowledge that's the thing of value. I was always seeing that it's the skill that I have that is the thing of value.
Right, and you also talked about dude that had a book and then he sold all the books and then he still had the knowledge, the product, the thing.
Right, he was blown away that he had this information, he put it in the book, and then he sold all the books, and he realized that he sold all the books, but he still had the product. Because, well, he realized that he bought 900 books, sold 900 books. And he sold all 900 books and realized that he could just print more books.
Okay, so I think I'm clear on what you're saying when you said the product. You mean his knowledge is being the product.
Yep, his knowledge.
It's not like it's, gone. You just have to reduplicate the knowledge.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
okay.
So his name is Myron Golden. He's somebody that I read a couple of his books. And he's on social media with very insightful digital economic information. Because for him, he was transitioning from being a garbage man to having this insight that he put in the form of a physical book, and then the digital economy birthed, and he realized that, oh, now I don't even have to make a physical book. He's like, well, now all I got to do is take that book that I wrote and turn it into a course where,
Digital.
Digital course. So now I don't even have the overhead of having to print the books. Now people could download the course, and they can download the course and go through it themselves. Or I could put videos inside of the course, and then they can go through it with me talking to them. So he can take a $20 book and turn it into a $200 course that you go through yourself that you download. But then if he's talking to all of if he puts videos inside of the course, now it's a $2,000 course. If he teaches the course to you personally, he charges $35,000 per course. Or the knowledge that he has himself that he's teaching by way of how to really do better with your businesses, you can pay him, what is his commission?
$500,000 or something like that.
Like $500,000, and he comes and implement the system into your business. So then
And he
you,
was a garbage man.
and he started as a garbage man. And then, so listening to him and then listening to some other entrepreneurs, we're gonna call them entrepreneurs, I realized that they're all following the same structure.
So, individually,
Individually
so that,
and kind of collectively.
right,
They're getting this insight from the Joseph Campbells of the world. They're getting the insight from who wrote Think and Grow Rich.
that's what I was looking at.
Yeah. Napoleon Hill.
Andrew Carnegie. That's
Yeah,
what
and
he
this
told Napoleon
exactly.
Hill to collect the same
Exactly.
thing, right.
Exactly. So this is the evolution of Andrew Carnegie creating the conference and the conference model of exchanging knowledge and information. It's transformed into the digital economy, or it's seeped into the digital economy. So when I'm reading Napoleon Hill, you introduced me to Napoleon Hill. You introduced me to Joseph Campbell. So you the one talking about the mastermind group. So when they talking about, oh yeah, my mastermind group is $50,000 to be a part of my mastermind group, and I got 20 members, and this is how I pay my bills. I already know that you planted the seed of me even recognize mastermind group when I'm studying the information to realize that they're speaking the language that you've been putting in front of me for 20 years. That's why I'm like, oh, okay, so now I understand. I can help build some of the infrastructure that's technology related because I'm good at that. At first I thought the information has been stripped away from us to the point where everything that I'm learning, I'm thinking I'm supposed to say, hey, this is the book you need to read. Everybody need to do all this on their own. And then from engaging with Allie, I'm like, well, wait a minute, Allie, we just need you to give us your framework. We just need you that's all you got to do. Give us the framework, give us the skill, and then let us go on and implement it into the system. Me and the community of technology babies. So that's why we all meet, is to keep structuring the skill, the knowledge, so we can break out the framework so it can be handed off to who needs to implement it into the apps and into the system and connect the bank accounts and all of that kind of stuff. So once I seen that post that I shared with you about things billionaires know that you don't know, which is Jeff Bezos is only 9%, and whoever, Tesla, Elon Musk is 20%, and the more money you make for other people, the more money you make for yourself. Like that philosophy, I'm like, oh, yep, I'm supposed to keep doing what I'm doing, and then just realize the step that the group individually needs, and it's the framework.
Do you remember the number in the mastermind group? Do you remember how many it was?
No.
5.
Okay. Gotcha.
5 people? 5 people?
Just started it. That's wrong.
No.
No, that's what the mastermind group becomes.
See,
Gotcha.
yeah, what happens is, it becomes too many minds. So, in some situations, for certain groups, it would be 8, and anything over 8 is too much.
Gotcha.
And then 5 would be, that was, if I can recall, it was just 5 people. I remember being an odd number.
Okay.
An odd number might be, I don't know, if it was to break a tie or whatever, I'm not sure, but you know, some gonna come to me
Right.
tonight, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
So,
thank you.
no problem.
Thank you.
So, what I started to do was I initially started out with a list of skills. I didn't want to go into it. I wanted to pretend like I didn't know at all what skills I had. I just wanted to see how long my list would be. So I created a list in a note in my phone of skills, and that's what I called my note, skills. And I just wrote all this stuff that I know how to do, all this stuff that I could just spit off of the top of my head if somebody called me and said, Donald, I really want to learn how to do this. How do I get started? What do I need to think about?
So that's your first.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yesterday,
Yep. Yep.
you know what,
You probably already done did it. You probably done already wrote this list down.
no,
Oh.
I haven't, but I probably would have to ask someone. I know, all I know is I can connect dots. When I, I can, a large amount of information, I know how to do that. And, get emotional about some things. I'm really not an emotional person. I don't cry. So when I cry, like, okay, yeah, I just, somebody told me that I was an encyclopedia.
Marissa, you know so much.
Hmm?
You know so much.
Yeah, and then a young lady that I met, I didn't meet her today. I met her over 10 years ago, and I talked to her about locks, and she was retelling me some things that I told her, and she said she looked at me as like a mentor, and it's like I had no idea. I just share with people, what I know. So, but here's more about gratitude and just being amazed. Just being amazed. And thankful and appreciative that I got what I got, whatever that got is. So it's like, and I don't, I don't think about it.
Right.
You just do what you do.
Yeah, you just doing what you do.
So as you're talking, is it, I know how to paint a wall, is that a skill?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
How to wash your locks, how to all of this.
It's like everything you could think of that you,
tell Brooklyn, tell me, tell.
and it would just come right out of you without you having to think about it.
Yep. All of the things that you taught all the girls over the weekend, like you probably had 3,000 pages.
Like I literally, I don't know how many. I mean, I had an endless amount of wow. I had
What
of-
you mean
for myself.
yeah.
Like I hadn't thought about all of the knowledge that I had been seeking turned into a skill, which then and then turned into my own knowledge, my own information that people call me for all the time. And they call me for it all the time, and I sit and I give it away. And then sometimes I give it away, and then they call me back because they didn't listen to it, and then I'm frustrated because they didn't listen to it, and now I got to tell you again. And then I realized, like, oh, this is what these guys are talking about. That sometimes people have to pay for the information for them to value it. So I realized that the world of selling knowledge, these people selling it to everybody all over the world.
So something that a beauty supplier, I don't know if you heard of Mr. Sharp.
Yep.
Okay, so early on with the product, he was telling me, you give me your thoughts about this information. He said, decide whether or not you want to charge more for a product and have less people purchasing it, or sell it for a little less and have more people
Right.
purchasing. And so he said, of course you don't undercut yourself. And say it's like, for instance, what I make, if it was in Saks, it would cost a whole lot more money.
Right.
So you really are paying for the store,
Right.
you're paying for the packaging. And then, but some people, but I know they wouldn't be my customer. If that's their thing, it's the name, the store, and the packaging, they would not be, I mean, my product could be superior, but I'm not Saks, and you see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be them either.
Right. Well, what's interesting is those are physical products.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're talking about is digital products.
I understand.
So with the digital product, and I'm imagining it's the same for the physical product, you create a value ladder. And the value ladder is taking the information and it could be available for $20 because it could be a book. But it also could be available for $250 because now it's a course that they go through on their own. Or it could be $2,000. And then now they see videos and they hear your voice explaining to them the information as they go through the course. So now it's a $2,000 course. Or they come and get a one-on-one weekend and they paying $20,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's looking at it. So it's the value ladder structure of it. What I'm learning is these guys and these men and women are using the digital economics to push their physical products. So it's like I could buy it's like they're on Instagram, right? Which means they're using Instagram as their free marketing tool because they're giving you samples of this information. And the first thing you want to know is, where can I buy this book at? So now you bought the physical product. So they're using the digital economics to push the physical product. So now you got the book, but now you want more information. And then it's bouncing you back around. Now you get in the course. Now you going to the conference. And then it's helping you make money off of whatever it is you're doing. So you want to go to that mastermind for $35,000. You want to be able to get on the phone with this person who you've been getting this valuable information from. But he charges $40,000 for a 1 hour consultation. Now this is a black guy who's not even at the highest economic level of this. He's training underneath someone else. He's training underneath someone else who was addicted to Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill. The white boy who studying Napoleon Hill, realizing that this is the same model as Andrew Carnegie, is spending $1 million on Napoleon Hill's original notes and notebooks. Why? Because he has a whole worldwide culture paying $50,000 to be in the audience at his presentations. And then you see that the people that are in his audience at his big 1 year presentation are all of the most visible influencers with whatever information it is that they exchange all over the internet. So it's like, oh, these are the people who could afford the 50,000. That's why they in those audiences. They're in those seats. So I just been able to study the network of it and realizing that, okay, well, I bought the book and then I bought this other person's book and I really liked his information. So I bought his course. And then I bought another person's book, but he had $37. You can get the audio version of it. So I said, oh, let me get the audio, $37. So I'm learning the structure of it by being a customer and client and participant of the system that these people are teaching. To the point where now I can explain it and I'm getting to the point where I can restructure it independently for myself, or at least be able to share what I've learned so we all can kind of start to structure the knowledge in some of these formats where people can just keep hitting download and you can just keep sharing the link. So every time something is posted on social media, it's not posted on social media just to be posted on social media and hopefully somebody can use the information. No, it's like a commercial. It's the
Like
market.
Marketing, yes.
Yeah.
Almost like a tease to put them in the.
Yeah, it's what you could follow me forever for free. But if you click that link in that bio, you can spend $20, $250, $2,000, or $40,000. And if, Myron Golden's, his whole thing is I make $70,000 a month just on selling books. Like, this is what my business does. He writes this. You want to make $1 million, get a $20 product, and you sell 50,000 of them. But if you don't want to sell 50,000 of them, you take this zero and you put that zero there. So now you sell 200 at 5,000 people. You don't want to deal with the 5,000 people? You put another zero up there. And now you sell the $2,000 product 500 times. He was like, I'm just telling y'all, this is what I do. He up on stage going crazy. This is what I do. This ain't a theory. He said, this is what I do. I make more money selling the $20 product. So that's what I do. I print the book and keep selling the book. That's the most. So I'm seeing that the value ladder allows it, at least for myself, it's allowed me to see really where I want to be based on me getting some understanding of myself as my own client or my own customer. I've comfortably spent $150 for some of these courses, $200 for these courses, buy the book. We did buy a $2,000 course. That was extremely valuable. But we were able to use some of our nonprofit money in professional development to buy that course. But if I'm looking at artists who are trying to figure out how to be entrepreneurs and to be able to make more money with what they know how to do
without draining their body,
without having to bend and fold to integrate into these systems, it's like, oh, the number one thing you need to do is learn to see the knowledge you've accumulated as valuable, and actually arguably more valuable than the skill. Because the skill that you just gonna keep developing that. You just gonna advance and get more knowledge on it. And if you love doing it, you would do it for free if you could afford to, if you don't physically deplete. But at the point where physically you might not be able to do it, it's like, okay, so what do I do now? Oh, I need to figure out what people are doing who are in the same position as me. And they're learning how to take the knowledge and get people access to the knowledge as a way to receive monetary value for it. At a time period where the encyclopedia is in our pocket and the world is connected to being able to receive the information. Because that's the biggest difference now. We don't got to go to the library to get the encyclopedia. We don't got to save up a bunch of money to buy it on the shelf. Now the information, this is why we have no more Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is no longer with us because if used as the right kind of tool, this phone, this computer, this internet, this is the real diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is what is able to catch some communities up if it's used as a tool, especially when it comes to information.
I'm hearing you.
That was Cody Water.
Can I see my charger?
Your computer charger?
I just it was just interesting. She was just tapping away. Are you tapping?
Making notes and working on something.
I was gonna say. No, I was just wondering if she was typing everything you were saying.
No,
because
not
the
everything
recording,
you're
which
saying.
is where she was
Yeah.
typing. I was like, okay.
Yeah, so, my experiment on myself turned into my experiment on the Tay, and then the experiment is continuing with Allie, and I'm seeing
Okay, you want me to experiment
Definitely taking something
So,
that we
let-
understand and making it a digital product.
Yeah, so I wanted to share something, because you're in the hair business, and I don't know if this could be used for something. As a stylist, there's an aging out process. That's what I call it. And it depends on, it's like this, as you age and you've had your clients for a very long time, and but you do a lot, you do more you like braiding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so probably, and do you make wigs?
No, man.
Okay,
I hate wigs.
you hate them?
Mm-hmm.
I know. I mean, it's like, well, people keep wearing wigs and stuff, and doing stuff to their hair, they're gonna end up
Needing them.
needing something. So this is what I call the aging out process, at least it is for me. So my average customer I've had for 29 years, and some I've had, a few I've had longer. I do have 2 customers that I've had, one since 88 and her friend since 90. So they're getting older, and they're a little older than me. No, several years old. And so, as and especially with what I do with the locks. So when I started doing locks, it wasn't about that. It was more conscious. People are really conscious. They weren't concerned about doing other styles and things, on their hair. And when you understand the like the sacredness of hair and what it really is, and they tell you that it's there, that it's not there. You're not really attracting younger people. Because now it's moved into something that's more than, and they want the different styles and stuff like that. And then you're getting older and your body is starting to, and you're not so, and then the younger people don't want to be around you, and you don't necessarily want to be around the younger people. So you see that you add gradually, I don't know if it's making sense to you, but I don't know if it applies to what you do, the way you do here. But it's this aging out process. And I was telling Donald earlier, and I was talking to Brooklyn, that, and it's really hard to save, it's hard to save money. And, so it's like, how do you do both? When you can do both, you have, so that you at least have a little bit of Social Security, even if it exists by the time, you're ready for, retirement. But that's the whole thing, and when you're doing hair, you don't think about it. You're just doing hair, and you're doing hair, and you're working. You're not thinking about necessarily when you get older, you may not want to own a salon, or anything like that. So when I'm looking and I see people that are even older than I am, and they still are going in, doing some hair, and there's so much other many things that you might want to do. Like we were talking about all these skills that you have, but you get caught up in the doing, and you never explore some of those other talents that you may have. So maybe even that knowledge can
Exactly.
bring me some money. I've been through it. I lived through it. And then at some point, do you even want to do what people want you to do? What's new coming in? I don't want to, do all of that. What?
No, for real. That's
I
real.
don't want to do,
I want to stick to these two styles I know.
yeah, but it's like the twisting and the turning and the pulling and the, all of that stuff. And
My mom is a licensed cosmetologist. Every single one of my stepmoms that my dad dated was licensed cosmetologists. So I've been around a lot of stylists, and I'm watching how they're deteriorating.
like withering.
Yeah, like hands, wrists. My stepmom just got surgery on her back just from bending over and accommodating and doing short hair for so long. So it's like that's one thing that I'm paying attention to, like how to.
I can't even. And you can see that this one is a little bit more, And then,
So the goal is
yeah.
to get this knowledge in a place where they can continue to grab it till I'm 150 years old.
And then, the seminar that I did, and I'm really saying that it really needs to be, if I'm gonna do it, really 2 parts. It really needs to be 2, maybe even 3 parts but I'm only gonna do it like maybe 3 times. I mean, what are we talking about? This is what, I'm okay talking?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is what I noticed. So before the pandemic, I was still doing like, because I used to do like 12, sometimes 15 people a day.
Honey.
And I was just doing, no, really.
Right.
No, not me.
Yeah, I was in my late 40s. Well, I started off when I was in my early 40s, like 40. But no, there was no one else except for one other lady in Cleveland that was doing locks. That was a cosmetologist, and she was still doing chemicals, but I couldn't be around the chemicals. They would trigger migraine headaches. And the kids was in school and they needed money for school and blah, blah, blah. And I had the energy. So then by the time the pandemic, my average was probably 6, and depending on what they were getting, it might be 8. But this is what I started noticing. After the pandemic, we could only, they were talking about what's doing for people today. And we're spacing them out. And so that means I could only do 4 people today because we were spacing it out. But I was noticing the difference in how my body could feel like, oh, I really, really was doing too much. Then I started, you know, I'm into like holistic health and everything, but being very observant and, you know, using my intuition. So then I started noticing how I felt after each client. And I didn't feel the same after each client. So,
Yeah, you didn't feel the same way after each client?
no, okay, and I don't know if I shared this with you. Okay, so right now, all of us, everybody, we're really breathing one breath. You know, exhale, and so we're inhaling and exhaling all of each other's stuff. So it's like, I think I shared this, but they didn't. So it's like, you know, if you study physics in school, you have 2 containers, one's full, the other one's half full, and there's a conduit, and the other one pours into the other. Okay, so, and then the moment that you're born, you start decaying, decomposing immediately. So what I was noticing, the reason why I was being more tired, because when I wasn't working, I was, you know, fine. I noticed that, okay, now I know what is being depleted based on how I'm feeling. So if it was a potassium deficiency, it's just like stupor, like you want to drop off to sleep, you know, or like, but it's kind of like when somebody is drunk and you're like it's kind of stupor type situation, but not tired, just sleepy stupor. That's a potassium deficiency. If it's a magnesium deficiency, it's, you feel like you want to throw up, or just kind of nauseous. Sometimes with potassium, I might feel like a little head kind of thing going on. If it's calcium, like I still can run up and down the stairs. I don't have to use the banisters. But if I'm a client, I've had a client, and you're calcium deficient, that means I'm going to pour into them. So now I'm going up the stairs, and it might be early in the day, and I'm holding and I'm dragging, my hip sockets feel like they're on fire. And so I start noticing that. And so the older the client becomes, you know, they're releasing more carbon dioxide. So when you inhale that carbon dioxide breaks down, destroys calcium in the body. And then I think I text Allie. So, and then I talked to Teresa this morning. So I was really noticing this. I don't know if she showed it to you, but I noticed that there are times when there's a lot of brain fog, or like I miss. I have to, you know, think. So sometimes it is like people ask me questions, it's an interruption. The other part is when all the cosmic stuff is pouring in, you know, all the time. But quite a bit of time it's the magnesium deficiency. And we look up, and so I looked up this morning, magnesium. Because when I said, like, what's wrong with me? And I just heard magnesium. Then I looked up magnesium and brain function. And so it was a lot of people there that day. And I pretty much know the health condition, you know, of all of them. So I just kept like trying to remember, what did I just remember down?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more than others, and it's like, and then sometimes you might have mold, and looking at what mold on your, you know, you think you got mold in your lungs, but you know, you have mold on your brain, and there's certain essential oils and things that you can smell to help clear your brain up, but you know, even just that knowledge there, knowing that, and the nutrition, and when you're a hairstylist or somebody that's working with people all the time, even down when you may be close up on something or just in a room with people. So now you think about kids. The other thing that people say, I don't like being around that person because I always come back with negative energy and this, that, and the other. it's the same thing when kids go to school and they haven't eat breakfast and then they just acting up in school. So and depression, a lot of times depression has nothing to do with anything mental, but because you don't have the food sources that you need. So sometimes, situations like that can be treated or cured just by having the proper nutrition. So, you were gonna say something?
I was going to ask a question.
Mhm.
What I was going to ask you is, off the top of your head, what are the things that you feel like you know?
I know a lot about metaphysics.
Metaphysics.
I know a lot about nutrition more than the average person. Not like a nutritionist, but I want to know it as well as a nutritionist. And what the seminar was about, most women are more concerned about having healthy hair, and they're not concerned about having a healthy body. Them not knowing that if you have a healthy body, your hair is gonna be fine.
Because I think that's what starts to go on the list.
Yeah, I know that is.
It's the metaphysics, it's
The
nutrition.
The juice, the
The
products
juicing.
that you making.
Right, because that's probably gonna fall into nutrition.
The hair product.
Yeah.
The
And the juice recipe.
yeah, like
Oh, the
juice,
juice, yeah.
juice, and the knowledge of juice will go under nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I observed from the seminar is, one, I feel like you're somebody with a lot of information, and I feel like I identify with being someone. I identify with being someone who has a lot of information. So then my thought to myself was, if I have all this information and I can actually see the through line in how all of the information that I have, how it all connects together. Because I could find myself in a conversation where I'm going actually from one knowledge base to another knowledge base when I'm actually communicating and sharing some of the information that I have. What did I need to do, or where did I need to grow in order to really be able to benefit off of the knowledge that I've accumulated? And how do I make money off of the knowledge to help support me continuously developing my art practice? Like, I want to be able to continue to support it. I want to be able to be the money source that I need to continue to make whatever I want to make. And it brought me all the way to, I gotta write down these skills. And what happened when I wrote down the skills, it was a lot of things that happened. One, I had really never seen all of the stuff that I think that I have some knowledge of. And I kind of was like, wow, this is amazing. Right? But then
be humble though. Yeah.
But then I also seen like, oh, this is all of the stuff that's always going on in my head all the time. And then from the initial list, each bullet point on the list, I started to write more bullet points of one specific subject. Where we saying nutrition, because nutrition breaks out into diet, it breaks out into exercise, it breaks out into these different categories that are there. You know what they are for yourself because you've developed and built these routines. But when you see them listed out, you start to actually see them as a regimen and a routine and actionable steps. So one of the words that I came across was frameworks, and the framework word, and me understanding what frameworks are, was one of my first like epiphanies and first aha moments in learning how to see my knowledge and skills as valuable. Because now my list turned into frameworks. So I've identified a skill, and the first step after identifying the skill is, what were the steps that you took to develop this skill? Because once you answer what were the steps that you took to develop the skill, what you're doing is you're sharing a process that somebody could repeat or implement. After you make the list of the steps, it's okay, well, it's like, make a list of the skills. What was your goal or goals connected to that skill?
A list.
Yep. What were the challenges that you faced when you were trying to achieve that goal? So now you got your skill, and then you got goals that you want to achieve centered around that skill that you're trying to develop. But now that you're trying to achieve that goal, you're coming up on complications. What were your solutions for your complications that you were facing?
Is the solutions the same as the challenges?
Nope. The solutions is actually the answers to the challenges.
And so what's okay, so then the complications, what is, because I see challenges and complications as the same.
Yes.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
is that
I
what
use
you're
I use them
saying?
interchangeably.
Okay.
Yep. I use it interchangeably.
Okay.
But then after you list out your solutions, what are your quick tips and cheat code steps that are original to you? Like, what did you figure out? And if you could take one skill or one form of information that you feel you understand, that you could rattle off on the phone in a 30-minute conversation, and take it through that and see that, then you could hand it off.
Going into those
You could,
handouts,
yeah, it goes right into what you could share with somebody as a handout. You could share with us in our group for us to put it into the software, put it into the system. Because now what you got is you have a knowledge-based product in the foundation of it. Because now we could turn into a book. If you wanted to write to every single bullet point that you made, you would have the book. If you wanted it to be a course, we could put it in the course builder, and all those bullet points that you wrote out, you could explain what they mean, and now you have a digital course. You could use each of those bullet points as just a talking point, where when you do your seminar and you do your presentation, you're doing it from here. So that missing of information or remembering how it connects, you did it here. So because I felt like I would get in front of a group of people and I would do really good at my conversations, but I wouldn't necessarily always hit on what I wanted to hit on. And sometimes people's response was, man, it was amazing. For me, I'm like, okay, but
Where you want to
yeah, how do I become more efficient? And in me learning how to take the skill or knowledge and flush it through those questions and separate all of the skills, I'm able to say, okay, I already know what we're talking about. We're talking about emotions, and we're talking about productization of knowledge. And I've already flushed out, and I can kind of reference here. Oh, this is, make the list, write the goal.
What do you recommend for somebody that has so many things to talk about? Is it one ball at a time, like food, or is it
I think it's
flushing through the skills?
flushing through the skills. Because so what I did is I made a list of skills, and I probably got about 40 things I feel like I know, right? And I didn't do it all in one sitting. As something would pop up, as somebody would call me, as I was making myself more aware of the skills was the first phase. Then what I would do is I found myself in conversation where I just gave somebody the 5 steps that I took. So I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah, duh, Donald. And then I put those 5. So I took a period of months to take each individual skill. Like when you sit here and we look at this digital productize yourself, I'd already become aware of it and learned it. And this started out as a bullet point. If we go to a note in my phone, this is one bullet point before all of this stuff came after. First was the skill, and I had a whole list of skills. And then what happened is the ones that would come up in my day-to-day more, it was like they kind of started to rise in my consciousness.
And wait a minute, I'm getting it. So your one of the skills you use to problem solve?
No.
It was more often, what did you say?
One of the skills that was coming up in conversation more.
Oh, okay.
It was like, oh, this, maybe I need to be really turning how to productize your knowledge into a product. Because I'm finding myself having this conversation with all of the artists around me. As much as I got drawing and painting and all this other stuff on this list, this one was coming up in my day-to-day conversations more often. I found myself explaining this new information more often. So what I did is it helped me, I started flushing this one out. It was like after I made the list, the world around me, the people around me were helping me understand which ones I need to focus on.
So now what I just wrote is what question keeps coming up you have answers.
Yeah, and they coming to you for it, and you who you are, you doing what you do. You giving them the information that you got. That's those products or that level of knowledge or skill are the ones that you start to focus on.
Yeah, you ain't know which way you wanted to go. You wanted to pick that phone up. You wanted to
Okay. So that, oh no, we ain't doing. Yeah, I'm still right here. And also, it's more tactile, so I can actually. So, what came up in my mind when you said like problem solve? Okay, there's this book that I came across, and it's like a kid's book. It's something serious. But not necessarily. It's called The Boy Who Invented the TV. And this book is about. I have it at home, but there was the man who invented the TV. I can remember what he used to daydream all the time, and at some point, I guess at one time he saw. I'll probably bring it so y'all can get it because it's a real thin book. But he would see things and then he would take it to sleep at night. So where I know I can do the same thing when I meditate, when I was meditating all the time, I would take it in meditation. And then I had read this book, so I was doing that before I came across this book. So I would meditate around 7 in the morning, and then the kids, they start calling me all the time in the morning, so that would interrupt that process. So I start using this technique, so I'm just going to share it with you guys, and because so since all knowledge, and we talked about before, all knowledge is in the nucleus of your cells. All knowledge that ever been, ever will be, it's just like you just read, like, it's like almost like a cabinet full of ingredients. So it's the ingredients, but say for instance, nobody has ever made a red velvet cake. So you got your coffee, you got some sugar, you got all this kind of stuff, and all of a sudden I'm gonna make this cake, and I'm gonna use some coffee, and I'm gonna, all that kind of stuff. So the same ingredients, you just using them a different way. So what I started doing is I make this statement while I'm sleeping, and I started doing this because the kids would interrupt me. While I'm sleeping, I am knowing and remembering, and the reason why I say I'm knowing and remembering, and we talked about that, is that it's like it's hitting is you put it in a hard drive and you know where you put it. So when you go into this altered state of consciousness while you're sleeping, but you make this statement before you go to sleep, like I probably when some of this here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna, while I'm sleeping, I am seeing and knowing and remembering, cause it could be some skills that's tucked away in the nucleus of my cells that I may have been using and I didn't realize I was using it. So I'm knowing and seeing while I'm sleeping, knowing, seeing, and remembering while I'm sleeping. Maybe the skills that create that I have that will create the most income for me, something like that. And then stuff will start coming. I don't know. I'm gonna take that, and because any of my skills that I might get skills that I don't even know that I have that
Right.
might come out with this statement that it's gonna be the quickest and the most efficient and easy way for me to get to where, I desire to go.
Yeah, I mean, and the truth of it is the skills that are connected to the conversations that you have the most are the skills that you need to flush out. Because, and once you can flush out the skill and respond to those questions, we can help each other.
I know what you're saying, what you said, but this is what just came. Actually, this probably is the best skill that I have. And what I got was interpretation. So, like if somebody if they're having a dream, or if we sitting together and something comes to them, and one of the things is I'll put a statement on a piece of paper, and it's in a sealed envelope, and it's not no deep meditation, and it's like, what do you get? Write it down. And then they may say, well, I think, and I'll say, I don't want you to think, I want you to feel, because intuition is feeling. And so it doesn't have to make sense. And so whereas most people, once they really respect that we all have it, it's not a gift that is for one particular person, but it's actually an ability that all of us have, and it's not to be ignored. They don't know how to interpret. So, and I don't know when I got interpretation. I don't know. I don't know if it's. So now, when I go to sleep, or it may pop up in my mind, what is meant by interpretation? What is it applying to? Is it talking about what I just said in terms of somebody has a dream and I'm able to interpret the symbolism? Is it that, or is something else? Interpretation. That's what I would need to find out and go from there. If I just heard
interpretation,
in my mind interpretation, then in what area are we talking about me interpreting?
Right, and I'm not sure, but when I hear you sharing interpretation, what I get from it is how you interpret the information that we're sharing. I hear it separate from, I don't hear interpretation as the product. I hear interpretation as process.
No, that's okay. I need you to say that again.
I don't hear interpretation as the product. I hear interpretation as like the process.
Yep. So it's not me interpreting that I can't. It's so
because
explaining the process of interpreting.
No, I think it's about you becoming more aware of your interpretation of what's being shared with you. Like, I don't think it's about a product. No.
Well, okay, let me say this. It's a product. That's no.
Mm-hmm.
It's no. It's not the product. It's the process. It's the process of how I interpret.
All of
That
these
is the
goodies you just got.
Separate from the product.
No,
Okay.
it's not that. Okay, wait a minute. It's the intuitive process. See,
Well, this is the thing. We don't need to know.
oh, okay, good. But that's
You need
what it is.
you need
But
to
I
write it
know,
down.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the intuitive. So people, yeah.
Yeah. You need
It's the
to.
intuitive.
Yep.
But that goes along with the metaphysical piece.
Right. And that's why in the process, the very efficient thing to do is for you to everybody working on their list.
Okay. Mhm.
Yep, everybody working on their list because I was gonna ask Allie if you would speak to your experience in these phases of what's been happening.
Oh, just the part of,
Productizing your knowledge and didn't think
Belief
you
and
had the
trust
skill
and
and
yeah, just not, initially just not believing, making excuses. And then once I really kind of started to believe in the process of particularly posting, I started to see the benefits because I started getting reactions from my audience. It felt good to post. It was like, wow, you do have information and knowledge to share. But then I'm starting, like right now I'm at the state of, I'm seeing how I was really engaged initially, and now I'm starting to kind of fall off. So I'm trying to
Oh, posting.
posting.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what happened because I still believe.
but go back to your list, go back to the productizing your knowledge, like separate from posting.
Oh,
Seeing your value and seeing, you know,
I mean, I had to make the list, and then I kind of star the things that I feel most excited about, which is like working with Black girls, writing, those two particularly.
So there is like yin seasons and yang seasons.
Mm-hmm.
The yang season is like you're very, very busy.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these ideas and you're doing all this stuff. And then when the yang, that's like the rest season. So you might be doing a lot of writing in the yang. You may be doing a lot of photography work. You may be doing, whatever you're doing. And that yin and yang season can be, you got a yin and yang that, during the course of the day, and then the course of the week, and the course of month, and the course of year. So you say if you're not doing a lot of photography work or anything in 2025, and so you might be doing some of this other stuff that maybe selling or whatever it is. But then here come 27, and you just taking pictures or you're writing, you're doing everything everywhere. So it may not be that there's nothing that's wrong. It's like the biorhythm. There's nothing wrong. It's just you might be in that yin season where your mind is just resting and restoring, and the collective is preparing you. You might be looking around at things. You're taking in stuff, but it's a yin and yang season for everything and everybody. And so in that yin, you're resting, and then the yang, you're just very active. And so if you don't have those, then this is nature stuff. If you don't have that, then you become brain fatigued, and you just might get discouraged. But if you, like, when you understand what it's about, oh, okay, I'm in my yin season, so,
And one beneficial thing about the process that we're going through is we're organizing our information and getting it out of our head in an organized way so it can be handed off. So whether you're in the yin season or the yang season, the knowledge can be a part of a business that we operate instead of a business that we work for. Because I remember we called a virtual assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talked to the virtual assistant, what I realized is that I didn't have my information ready to hand off to anybody. So,
Virtual assistant.
yeah, or to really, or at some point when Natay would used to help me post,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have it organized in a way that I could really benefit and maximize off of somebody who was actually going to help me. So that's where I really know that the first phase is getting the information to a point where we can get help. Like we can help each other. Where the person who does not post, it doesn't matter because the posts are already made and created because that skill got flushed out with all those bullet points and content is being created around that knowledge and information. And the person who posts is who's posting it, not the person who doesn't post. You know, it's like approaching it in a less emotional way. And or I'm posting a lot how I'm feeling. I don't, I'm overthinking my captions. Like separating the emotion from it by by putting the information into a system. So it could be handed off. Boom, here we go. Virtual assistant. This is the information. This is the knowledge. This is the social media page. Here go 400 posts. Here go all of the captions for the posts because we've already extracted that information out of ourselves.
Oh, yeah. So you plan the post, you write the post, you might have, pictures to the post, and then I wanted this posted this week, this posted that week,
Yes.
and this day. And
Because these systems, these people are running social media organization pages where they are scheduling out a year of content worth of posts, and you pay them $6 an hour, but you just got to give them the year worth of content. Because once you give them the year worth of content,
$6 an hour.
$6 an hour. But what happened is when I called,
These teenagers, they have no bill for the no. I'm just.
yeah, no, they're overseas. So you
That's
talk to the
right.
person in charge, and that person says, "What are your needs? Here are our services. $6 an hour for this, $10 an hour for that. We need to create a Google Doc. You need to get us access to all of the information, and then we just start putting it on the scheduler." And then I sat there and said, "Man, this is amazing, but I don't have my information organized in a way yet to be able to benefit off of this service."
But you learn something when you realize that.
I learned that I need to go learn all this.
Yeah.
And then in learning all of this, it's like, okay, well, if it's not about the $6 an hour. It's more about the information being organized. So that's where the frameworks came from. That's where the individual skill came from. And it's like, okay, well, if I'm about to learn the apps, I could tell everybody, because everybody can know, yeah, we're using Stand Store for the store. We're using Cast Magic for the transcription. We're using Opus Clip to be able to cut up the videos into 20-second clips. I can tell you the software, or it's just like, oh, yeah, no, we just need the framework because the system exists now. So we can take from the framework and run it through the system.
Now all those technology, is it like on your phone?
It's on the phone, a couple of them on the internet. Some of them got monthly subscriptions. So this is where I'm seeing that Allie doesn't have to learn Opus Clip. Allie got to just let us sit down and ask her questions to her 20 bullet points that she wrote down. Allie don't got to learn Cast Magic. We could just use the transcription and pull her top 20 quotes.
What are these? Opus? How you spell it?
Opus Clip. But what I'm saying, Ms. Boyd, is you don't
You
got to
don't
work.
need them.
No, that's not even what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because I'm going to say this.
Cast Magic.
How you?
Cast, C-A-S-T, Magic.
Okay, that's fine. The reason why I'm asking.
Because it's a longer list, but
Well, no.
Okay.
But which one is? All of them are used in equal. What is one that will maybe use most?
no, they all used for different reasons.
Okay, so no, because I have a granddaughter. She's doing pretty good, and
Right, she needs to come to class. See, I'm one of the 44-year-olds.
That's Allie. I wanted to see if she, you don't know my granddaughter. You know my granddaughter, Allison?
No, I don't know Allison.
But you heard of it.
I only know Brooklyn.
Oh, you thought it was Brooklyn. Oh, okay, no. But Allie is is good at that kind of stuff. And now here's the thing.
Well, this is the thing. That's coming from somebody who's not. See, I'm the teacher.
So wait a minute.
So we don't know how good Allie is
Well, yeah. I know.
because when she come to class, I could tell you how good she is. Because remember, I'm one of the adults who know more than the young people about this stuff.
But yes, and what I think is good may not be good. All I know is that she will video Michelle doing whatever she's doing, following around all day, and she put these little things together. And so I don't know how good she is. It may be very good to me, but it's not good. It might
Well,
be mediocre.
She
but
might be making a real
she's
good
probably the person who needs to be in the class.
here.
And I'm only saying that to say because the 35 and unders have the temperament to operate all these social media platforms. And they have the attention, they got 10-hour screen time a day, and all of them are looking for some way to make money. And what I realize is that, oh, okay, well, if you got 10 hours, how much does it cost for 2 hours of that day? Because we just got a folder of 400 videos and we need you to put these on the calendar and we're going to pay you $20 an hour, $50 an hour. So I'm realizing that we need a distribution system to be able to help the 35 and ups be able to benefit off of social media, and then the 35 and unders to be able to turn it into a business.
Yeah, and the reason so
I can give you the-
no. But see, here's the thing. Only reason why I wanted to know a few of those so that I can ask her, are you familiar with these?
Well, she
Right.
might be more familiar with like CapCut. She might be more familiar with like the video editing situations more than the AI.
Oh yeah, because of the
Yeah, like you could.
Yes.
This stuff is
She might be making them on Instagram.
well, this is and because I wasn't offended, but I'm trying to help you not have to figure this part out.
Oh, I'm not trying to figure it out.
You are.
Well, yes and no. See,
The no part is yes,
okay, so here's the thing.
and it's yes by way of the granddaughter.
When you said that, and you were saying, because she's Michelle's assistant, on
Yeah,
the
and she showed up late.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I'm taking notes.
And so
I'm
I said,
I'm sitting there like,
and then on
how you gonna
top of
show up late?
Well, see what she did too. Was she came, no, I'm just saying. I don't know what she's gonna.
And this is what she said. She said, "Oh, I'm born into all of this information. I hear it all the time."
Is that what she said to you?
No, she said it to somebody else. I said, "But what are you gonna do with knowing?"
And did she,
Because
did you tell her that?
Yes.
Oh, good.
And the reason why I say, "What are you gonna do with knowing?" is because this is your grandmother, and this is the information, and this is the knowledge, and you're possibly somebody that takes it for granted because you're born into it. But I know you don't have no teachers telling you that. So when I said that to her,
You said all of that to her?
she looked at me.
And what did she say?
She said,
I mean, what was the expression?
the expression, well, all I said was, "What are you going to do with knowing?" Because I just want to challenge her perception and challenge her imagination. And she said, she just got quiet. She didn't respond.
Well, that's good.
I know, and that was,
Well, see, she's figuring herself out and she's learning. And so whereas somebody else could say something to her, she won't necessarily.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and then, so she had came over, so that's kind of what she does this little stuff that I'm not even trying to figure out. So there's some things that she doesn't quite understand, like I guess I said, look, corporations have people that they have these departments. So the person in the head, they may come up, but they have these different departments. I developed my product. I didn't ask nobody to formulate it for me. I formulated it. I'm doing all that. I'm pouring in all that. So trying to learn how to do this, I'm not trying to do.
Right.
I'm not trying to learn this. That's what I'm saying. So she came over.
and that's a skill you should write down.
What?
How to create a physical product.
Okay. So she had came over and taken some pre-pictures, but she hasn't done anything, with it as of yet. So I don't know. And I have an Android. She has an iPhone. I'm really not interested in getting an iPhone. all my people have iPhones.
we need you to get one. But keep going.
Because I have 2 phones. One, my regular for doing hair, and then I have
This is the thing.
what?
This is not a phone.
This is a computer.
This is
The
it.
iPhone?
This is not a phone.
Wait, are you saying you telling me it's?
I'm saying this don't got no number.
It's a computer.
Can't nobody call.
Oh.
This is, I use the device. I use everything but the talking feature.
Okay.
See, when you cut the plan off and can't nobody call it, you see what the device really is.
Oh, so can't nobody call it? She just uses it for.
I use it for everything. I use it for video. I use it for audio recordings. I use it for transcription to transcribe the software. I edit. I take pictures. It's a supercomputer that they called a phone in order to get them in everybody's hands.
Okay.
And some people are stuck perceiving it as a phone, a form of distraction.
Well, see, for me, I use my phone to make calls and to make sales on. I do take some pictures, but all the other stuff I don't use it for. And so you can give me some thoughts about this. So when I was with Sprint, and then Sprint was sold to T-Mobile, and in the meantime I was trying to replace my phone, and they didn't have. It's like they didn't have phones, and I kept going. And the guy said, "Well, what are you using a phone for?" And I told him, I said, "What about an iPhone?" He said, "Well, what are you using your phone for?" And I told him what I was using it for. And he suggested that I stay with the for what I'm using it for, that I stay with the Android. It's easy because he said it's easier to use, and iPhones and keep putting them out and out and out and out. You have to keep buying another phone.
Mm-mm.
That's not true.
That's
Nope.
not true.
No, not at all.
So maybe he was saying to me, because I wasn't buying the phone because they didn't have it. I don't know why.
Well,
He said Android then. I don't know why he said it, because I thought, well, maybe to get me to buy a phone, but they didn't have a phone, Android, because they weren't restocking their shelves because they were in the midst of being taken over by T-Mobile.
right. So he's selling inventory.
No, he didn't sell me anything. He couldn't sell me anything.
Oh, couldn't sell
He
you.
didn't have- That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
It
okay.
wasn't that he was trying to get me to stay with the Android because they had Android.
He was giving you his opinion and
He was giving me an
perception.
opinion based on business and what would be easier and less expensive for me to have that. So, you go in and tell me what, because, and the reason why I said that is because,
This is where the 15% are on the iPhone.
We about to hit an hour and a half.
Hmm?
We about to hit an hour and a half. I just wanted you to know.
Okay.
so we supposed to meet an hour? Or-
Yeah, we meet an hour and then it spill over. But just in general, I don't know what the simple. There's no simple explanation.
For using an iPhone over the Android, is that what you?
Yeah, not a simple one. I'm trying to think of a simple explanation, but ultimately, the iPhone is made for the person with imagination. Like that's what the iPhone is made for.
Okay.
From the user of it, the icons of it, it's a smaller network of people using them. This only makes up 6% of the world's usage is Apple products just in general. 94% of the world uses everything else. It's a creative community device all in itself.
So, I'm asking these questions too. If I'm using the phone for whatever I'm using it for.
Mm-hmm.
So if Allie took, a video or whatever for me and she sends it,
Yeah,
it does not look
yeah.
right. No, it doesn't look
It's
right.
because you're not in the network.
Okay, right. So, then I'm trying to figure out if she meets the standard, then how does she take the video and I put it on my page and she puts it on her page? Because she basically, it'll be the same video. She said, but I'm using music for my generation and then you can use it, the music, if you put music to it.
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out because
But right now, y'all apples and oranges,
yeah.
and so they don't even communicate directly, which means
She gets
and
into
and
it.
and what she's using is designed for your needs. I'm telling you.
No, I'm
Yeah,
not
I mean-
saying that, but here's the thing. This is making excuses or anything like that, because this is the other thing I do.
You could get a used iPhone that you never get a plan on, that's not the newest iPhone, to be able to communicate with all of the internet and social media platforms and all of
Kids.
your kids' system. You could see everybody's location. You could be in the text message thread. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Well, all of them have iPhones.
I know.
I think, but
If you
Candy-
get your
Candy-
iPhone, even if
Candy
you
has
don't
an
get a
Android.
number, you can still be a part of the Apple family.
right. Because the phone doesn't have to be on. The devices communicate with each other
Right.
without a cell phone plan.
As long as you got Wi-Fi.
Yeah, like,
So I just buy an iPhone.
you could buy a used iPhone and don't turn the service on.
See, because, okay, so now this is what's going on. This is my regular phone, but this is also, I have Intuit on here, so when I'm doing hair and it goes into that account, that's what this is for.
Right.
I have another phone that is for Estelle Botanicals and with a phone number. So I'm talking about, and I'm ready to buy 2 new phones at the same time, because it's time for me to get
Why? Because those apps aren't all available on one phone?
one phone. I didn't purchase them both at the same time.
You didn't purchase what at the same time?
So when I got this one, here's the thing, you got I'm running 2 separate businesses,
Right.
and they have 2 separate numbers.
Okay.
I didn't want them getting like mixed up or intertwined or anything. So I have Zelle for family on this regular phone,
Right.
and Cash App for family, 2 different accounts. On the other one is for the product. It has different information. So I have Square
Right.
for the product and Intuit for the hair, because that's.
That makes sense.
Thing.
Are you opposed to having all those apps on one phone? Because all those apps could be on one phone, and you would still just go to the different app to engage with the different product for the reasons that you stated.
But I got 2 different numbers.
The numbers already created the account.
Right.
The
The
numbers.
cell phone numbers. I got
The
2.
numbers already created the Intuit or the Zelle or the Cash App. So no matter what phone you log into, it'll text your phone that you put your number on, but you don't have to have that on that phone.
I'm getting confused.
My Cash App is on this phone, this iPad, my other phone with a different phone number. It just texts my phone and say, hey, somebody's logging me in.
Right.
You good with that?
Because they're not, the technology isn't connected to the phone number.
Right.
The technology is connected to the email.
The phone number just wants to confirm that you're okay with it, that you know.
But mine is connected. Mine are connected to my number, not to the email.
So you don't have an email when you go log in, you log in through the phone number?
For
Like if you logged out and had to log back in,
It's texting your phone, right?
wait a minute. Okay.
if
If I shut this phone down.
well, this is the thing, separate from the phone. So all of those apps, right? If we opened a new device and it says log in, when you log in, what do you log in with?
I mean, I put my password in.
You put your password in. What's your username?
They got different usernames.
So it's username and password, which is getting you into the account,
And then
not
it's
the
gonna-
phone
It's
number.
gonna text and confirm after that.
Right.
It's not gonna mandatory make you have to only have it on this device because this is the phone number.
You can go to the computer upstairs. You can go anywhere in the world and log into those accounts without having the phone, which reiterates it's not the phone number that it's connected to. The phone number is where the confirmation that is actually you comes to. Like, so if you pick up your phone and you've logged out and you log back in, it's going to ask you, oh, is this you? Or if you go on the computer to log in, it might send an alert to your phone number, to your phone, to see if that's you. But that stuff is controlled in the settings of how it alerts you for security. But the login is your username and your password, which means I could put Zelle, Cash App, and everything into it. I could put all that Square. I could put all of it on this phone right now with no number. Log in to your account and see all of what's going on and see the sales, the purchases, and all that kind of stuff.
So, at my bank, they have, like, when they set me up for Zelle, it's the phone number for, a sale tender. It's a different phone number. So you're saying that if I went in on Zelle here or Cash App, they'll ask me the number?
They're gonna ask you for your username and your password.
Right.
After that, they're gonna say, "Hey, we're sending a confirmation to this number that you already put in."
Because
You enter these numbers.
it's technically you've put that number in for them to contact for a new login. But in your account, you could change that. You can get an email. I get email confirmation. I don't even get phone number confirmations. Because it's designed to go, it's designed for you to be hands-free if you want it to be. And the way to experiment or to see is to download the app that's on a different phone to go into the account. All right, so we're gonna.
In other words, okay, so you're saying, okay, I have Intuit for one business and I have Square for the other.
Yep.
So then I put add Square
Mm-hmm.
on this one phone.
Yep.
And then what about the phone?
It's gonna text whatever the real phone is that has the number. It's gonna ask you to put in an account number. Like 6 numbers or something like that they text that phone.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily only have to be on that phone.
So then so if I do it on this phone, but I still have another phone number.
It's gonna tell
So
you what
then-
you're gonna have to do.
Okay, so then if I tell somebody my Zelle number,
It never changes unless you change it.
no, okay, hold on. I have to walk this through, because it might take me, I might have to get another
And we're
phone
gonna log
number.
out. We're gonna
So,
be back at it next week.
Did our friend come back?
Nope.
Got you.
Nope.
so,